You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, there you are. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, 7th day of June, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. For the first live broadcast, that's our live training room. That is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not yet taken your 1-week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com. At the top of the page, there's a link that says 5-day free trial, no credit card required. Click that link, complete the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen is typically same day, we'll get your desktop set up, get your indicators indicating, and then your trial will actually start the following day. Now, you don't have to worry about what day of the week or weekend or hour of the day that you sign up for the trial. You'll still get 5 consecutive trading days, even if it stretches over a weekend. And in most cases, it will. So you get 7 days instead of 5. And there are some markets that trade over the weekend. Hang on. Trying to figure out if Michael's going to join us today. He's at the hospital. So, okay, that takes care of that. Now I can go back to that. Okay, all right. So, at the top of the page, mytradingiq.com, just click the link. It says 5-day free trial. Make sure you fill out that registration form completely, because it's an automated process, and if you don't, we won't get it, and you won't get a trial, and nobody wins. Fill it out right, we'll get it, you'll get a trial, everybody wins. So let's be winners, okay? Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's a couple different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com and scroll down the page to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click that link, complete that 30-second registration form, you're done. What will happen is every trading day going forward, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there is a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you will have access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days when you're out of the office, wait for the desktop, but you still want to join live. You can. And there'll be days when you're busy and can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do that too. I'm talking about, of course, our YouTube channel, which is very easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. You already have the YouTube part memorized, so just remember CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,500 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Just pick some days at random. Watch a little bit, fast forward a little bit, pick another day, watch a little bit. You get the idea. What you'll discover is the thread of connectivity, the thread of continuity, woven through each and every daily broadcast, spanning 8 years, and our very vibrant trading community. youtube.com/CFRN. Now, based on the last telegram I got from Michael, he will join us about 12:45. So we'll open as we do every day with our daily devotional, a word of prayer, get into the markets, and about 12:45, if things go well, he'll show up, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room, and we'll go live on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes, do some live trading, and then I'll wrap things up with our good word for the day. Now, the topic of our devotion this week, and this will continue into next week, is passion. Today's scripture is Galatians 5, verse 1, and I'm sharing from the Message translation. Christ has set us free to live a free life. So take your stand. Never again let anyone put a harness of slavery on you. Galatians 5:1. We as humans, as people, as spiritual beings having an earthly and bodily experience, we tend to have a love-hate relationship with grace. We're quick to receive it, but sometimes hesitant to give it out. We're good at holding grudges and keeping score, yet we're so relieved when we stop to remember that God keeps no record of wrongs. We would do well to follow his lead. Christ died for our sins, and the moment we accept him as Lord over our lives, we gain his freedom. And he begins the often painful process of shaping us into someone altogether new, someone who looks like his Son. However, even after we invite Jesus into our hearts, we live as though we're still slaves. Old habits die hard, and it's so easy to fall back into routines we thought were in the rear view mirror of our journey. Thankfully, that's what grace is for. Our culture wants us to be a slave to things that keep us from doing effective kingdom work, binding us with chains of greed and jealousy, comparison, and selfishness. Far too often we fail to realize we've inadvertently become slaves to other people's opinions. Let me just tell you, what other people think about me, that's none of my business. But how many of us are slaves to our careers, climbing the ladder but never quite reaching the top? Sadly, it also seems our society has become a slave to social media, allowing Facebook and Instagram to rule our time, our thoughts, and our relationships. I apologize to the other social media platforms that I left out, but you're included as well. Not only did Christ take our sin upon himself so that we can have eternal life, but he died for us so that we can experience life fully and abundantly right now. He wants us to live as free people. That's his greatest hope for us. God is quick to forgive when we ask, and he will continue freeing us from the things that bind us on a daily basis. He is in the business of breaking every chain. Chains of fear, addiction, unforgiveness, jealousy, anything that's hindering us from becoming all he's called us to be. Mark 10:45 reminds us, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." That, my friend, is amazing grace. How sweet the sound. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the freedom we have in Christ, as we just read in Galatians. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. Let us write that on the tablets of our heart, God. Lord, we're grateful for the liberation you've given us through your Son. Help us to stand firm in this freedom, resisting anything that seeks to bind us again. May we live in the fullness of your grace, walking in the freedom that comes from knowing you. Strengthen us to reject the yokes of sin, fear, and legalism, and to embrace the life of freedom and love that you have called us to. Let your Spirit guide us daily so that we may live as free children of God, bringing glory to your name in everything we do. And today, Lord, we lift up Michael's mother-in-law and father-in-law to you and their whole family. You know their needs and circumstances, and we ask for your healing touch. Surround them with your love and peace. Grant them the grace they need in this time. And Lord, our hearts are heavy for our nation. We're facing the threat of war, something no one wants, but throughout history, there it is again. We pray today for your intervention and your peace to prevail. We ask that you guide our leaders with your wisdom and soften hearts to seek reconciliation and unity. Father, we pray that you would protect the innocent and bring a swift end to any and every conflict. We trust in your sovereign power to bring about peace and justice. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen. And happy Friday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices, as they're called. Currently, the Dow up 63 points. The NASDAQ up 11. S&P up 9. Our man in the street, the Russell 2000, down 16 points. And for the Russell, it's almost 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 21 cents, trading 75.41 last. Gold down $67.40. Wow. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. Trading 23.70 last. That's a drop of almost 3%. Silver down $1.90. Trading 29.46 last. That's a drop of 6%, or almost $10,000 per contract traded. I don't know that I've ever seen that either. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei dropped 19 points. Shanghai gained 2. The Hang Seng fell 109. In the European markets at the close, FTSE down 39. The DAX down 95. The CAC down 38. So that gave us a mixed day in Asia. It was a red day for the UK. So far, it's a mixed Radio Friday here in the US of A, with 3 of the major indices in the green: the Dow, the NQ, the S&P, the Russell 2000. It's pretty deep in the red, almost 1%. So we'll see that changes going into the close at all today. So why is there bullishness in the market? Well, where do I start? I got a couple of articles to share with you. Well, let's just start with this one. The U.S. labor market added more jobs than expected in May, defying previous signs of a slowdown in the economy. Now, don't forget the previous numbers were adjusted downward, but just saying. Data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics released this morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern showed the labor market added 272,000 non-farm payroll jobs in May, significantly more than the 180,000 expected by economists. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate rose to 4% from 3.9% the month prior. May's job additions came in significantly higher than the 165,000 jobs added in April. The print highlights the difficulty the Federal Reserve faces in determining when to lower interest rates and how quickly. Overall, the economy and labor market have held up, and inflation has remained sticky, building the case for holding rates higher for longer. Yet some cracks have emerged, such as signs of inflation pressuring lower income consumers and rising household debt. Now, one of the senior analysts over at Yahoo Finance said they're walking a tightrope here. He noted the longer the Fed holds rates steady, the more cracks could develop in the economy. I think. President Trump raised $12 million from Silicon Valley in one night. Have you noticed that we got billionaires switching sides of the aisle. Let me share one more article here with you on a slightly lighter note, I suppose we could say. GameStop. Well, it's not a lighter note if you're long GameStop. GameStop stock fell as much as 23% on Friday after the video game retailer reported quarterly results that missed analyst estimates and announced a stock sale just hours before a highly anticipated live stream from Roaring Kitty, an alias used in the past by bullish retail investor Keith Gill. The first quarter, GameStop posted an adjusted loss of 12 cents per share versus estimates of a loss of 9 cents. Net sales dropped 29% to $882 million versus analyst estimates of $995.5 million. Wall Street was expecting the quarterly results later this month. The company also filed to sell up to 75 million additional shares. Now, remember, last month, now we're barely into the month of June, but just in May, GameStop sold 40, when Roaring Kitty ran the stock up, GameStop issued and sold 45 million shares, bringing in $930 million. The announcements came on the heels of the stock's 47% surge in the prior session after Roaring Kitty scheduled a YouTube live stream for noon today. So I guess that's happening right now. So, I mean, let's think about it. We all remember Blockbuster. And for a while, it was the hottest ticket in town, man. You could go get ready for movie night. They even had the popcorn and the candy. You took it home. You put it in that newfangled VCR. Cutting edge technology. And a lot of people made a whole lot of money off of Blockbuster until they didn't. Along came a little company called Netflix, which they tried to sell to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster said no. And now Blockbuster is no more. Except the one privately owned store somewhere in Oregon. I forget which city. But, and they stay open just sort of as a retro throwback to the old days kind of thing. So why am I talking about Blockbuster, a company and stock that's way gone? Because I'm comparing it to GameStop. GameStop is a place where you can go in, and I don't know if you can rent video games, but you certainly can buy them, both new and used. But unless you just like hanging out with, nerds and geeks, I can say that because I guess I'm both, all right? Although I never go to GameStop. Any video game that you want to play, you can buy and download online and start playing, as soon as it finishes downloading. There's no reason to go to GameStop. So the fact that they made any money last year on a retail level, I find surprising. I mean, they made some money, but they still lost, 9 cents a share. So this whole GameStop thing, I don't want to call it a pump and dump, but I'll let you make your own decision. How about that? I think that's better. Okay, let's get down to business. Michael just telegrammed me again that he definitely plans to be here, so he'll join us in about 15 minutes, maybe 20. Let us have a look at Logic 247. We're in week 305. This recap was done this morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. There have been additional alerts put out since then. Now, 305 weeks since we launched Logic 247. That was after the beta test. We've issued over 16,850 individual handcrafted alerts. 16,800. Okay. Now, we don't have some machine like a ticker tape that just spits out those alerts. I was in a mentoring session one day when somehow it came up in the discussion, and the person in the mentoring session, they said, "Oh, wait a minute. You try to tell me that you actually look at the charts and hand type and issue each one of those alerts?" And I said, "Yeah, that's a true story." He found that incredible. And that was way back when we probably only had, I don't know, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 alerts. But now we're at 18,000. 18,000. Here, let me not guess. Let me just go look. What was the last number I published this morning? 16,866. That was the last alert published this morning. Now, over all those alerts and all those weeks, we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. When Valerie did the recap this morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and she'll finalize it this afternoon for the week, at that time there had been 46 alerts issued since the market opened Sunday night. Probably put out, I don't know, 7 or 8 this morning, maybe 10. But at the time she did the recap, there was 46 for the week. One never triggered. Still waiting on the outcome of 12. So that gave us 33 actionable alerts, of which 3 or 9% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure and that very simple 3-step process we teach all of our passport holders in their private one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, 305 weeks is a long time, but if you double that at a minimum, it's probably more. We rolled out our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now, they're a little different in a number of different ways. The logic alerts give you an entry price, an initial target, an additional targets, and then the final trade to target. On a long is always the weekly trading zone above. On a short, it's the zone below. Now, if you will use the alerts, not just to trade, so you don't have to learn how to trade, you use them properly. Draw every time a logic alert comes out, if you're new, draw a horizontal line at the entry, at the initial target, goal for the day, and all the additional targets. If you'll draw those horizontal lines, you'll start to see where those targets came from. It's previous swing highs and swing lows. It's really that simple. But you need to see it with your own eyes. You need to do it yourself. You need to go, okay, I can see where I just created a window of opportunity here and price traded right through. Wow, I now have a superpower. Don't get carried away with yourself, okay? There's no magic wand or crystal balls. You simply have to learn to read the chart. And that's the purpose of the logic alerts. So that you learn to read the chart so that you can look at any chart and instinctively know what the next high probability move is based upon how price flows. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Whether it's futures or stocks or crypto or Forex or ETFs, price flows from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. So you can learn to know with a high degree of probability what the next high probability move will be. And you'll know when to wait for an opportunity to present itself. These are all the things that we teach you. Okay. Now, once you've got the logic side down, your next step up the ladder is the CTAs. Because here you get to pick the entry point, the initial target, and the individual targets yourself. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock. 2 a.m., 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. But the CTAs are published as a static report shortly after the Globex Open each evening. We're in the Friday session. Everybody knows that. Friday session started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. All of these targets were given to our members and trial members 10 minutes after the market opened last night. First thing you do when the report is published is go to the 30-minute chart of whatever markets you actually trade. Make a note on your 30-minute chart where price was at this time. Then draw a line in the sand at the long target, a line in the sand at the short target. Those will serve as great visual cues to help you stay on the right side of the street. If price gets above the 30-minute BVC, it's attempting to reach the long target. If price gets below the 30-minute BVC, it's trying to reach the short target. It's pretty simple. The BVC is simply the green line you see on my charts. You can put it on an hourly chart, a daily chart, a weekly chart, a monthly chart, a 5-minute chart, a tick chart, a range chart. It stands for bull, bear, cross. So relative to whatever time frame you're looking at, if price gets above the green line, you should be bullish and expect higher prices. If price crosses below the green line, you should be bearish and expect lower prices. Again, relative to whatever time frame you're looking at. But for the purpose of the logic alerts and the CTAs, we're always looking at a 30-minute chart. Nothing magical about the 30-minute chart. It's just the time frame I chose years ago, and I've stayed with it. With the CTAs now, this is where you get to look left to spot your entry, your initial target, and the additional targets. Previous swing highs and swing lows that become current support or resistance. And you're learning how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. That's very important because price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night till they close Friday afternoon, if price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone overhead. If price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the zone below. Just resist the urge to make it more complicated than that. As long as you know which way the wind is blowing, it's pretty simple to reach your goal for the day. Now, the zones come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. We've published them for our members since December 14th of 2009. So this December will make 15 years. Once you truly understand how price behaves at a weekly trading zone, the zones will become one of the most important tools in your trading toolbox. When price reaches a weekly zone, only one of three things happens. 70% of the time is consolidation, 20% of the time is rejection, 10% of the time is the slice. So let's go look at the new all-time historic high. Put in today, just for you. Okay, so back over here, this was our high. Put in May 23rd, 53.68 1/4. Then we put in another high at 53.68 1/4. Double top. Then yesterday we hit 53.73 1/4. And today we hit 53.80.75. Come on. It's a real challenge on this daily chart. I'll leave it there for now. But you get the idea. The new high, 53.80.75. Now what's important is we took out the previous all-time high by how much? A little bit. And how do we feel about a little bit? We're always very suspicious. Now, last night in the workshop, if you were there, we talked about the fact that major support below us was the daily step line. It should be good for support and a bounce. And that's what we got. Got a new high by a little bit. Now the next area for potential support, major support, is at blue and climbing, which is at 53, roughly 17, 18. And then you got the daily BBC, 52.97. And then the 24% fib retracement of the last leg up, April 19th to today. Now I've got to adjust this one as well. That's really tricky. See how close we can get. Pretty close. So it's 53.80.75. That says 53.80.75. Here, let me try this. Today's high, 53.80.75. God, we're only 2 ticks off there. This is the one we need to try to fix. All right. Close enough for government work. So, we expected support here. We got it. Bounced this up. got a new all-time high. Got blue and climbing below us, that's support. Resistance overhead, because this is a new all-time high, is the 100% fib extension of this entire move up, going all the way back to October 27th. Okay. Once price hits that 100% fib extension, I will redraw the extensions from this low to this high to this low. First, I want to see if price can actually make it to the 100. May not. For all we know, this is the top. For hours, days, weeks, months, we don't know. Like I said, no crystal balls, no magic wand. Now, the reason I have you look at the daily chart with me every day, even if you don't trade the S&P or futures, whatever you trade, spend 2 minutes with the daily chart, because the institutional traders, the ones who trade in such size that they actually move price, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has to do with account size, that's all. The sheer size they trade in moves price. So, when you look at the daily chart of whatever you trade, you're seeing what the deep pockets are up to. Okay. Now, earlier in the session, they ran it down to support, and then buyers came in off that news, took it back up. Okay. So we're well off the low of the day, and we're just off the all-time historic high. How we close today, that will be very important. Will institutional traders, the ones that move price, will they be willing to carry this home over the weekend? Well, it's not their money, it's the institution's money, but we'll see. We'll see what the consensus is. And that gives us a clue as to what to expect Sunday night at the open. All right. I said all the alerts are created on a 30-minute chart. The weekly zones you see here were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Go all the way back to, this was the Sunday night open, June 2nd. Price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. On the 5th, which would have been Wednesday, we spent most of the session just consolidating at the zone. Remember, 70% of the time. And then today, or last night, we had more consolidation at the zone. Now there's one more zone way overhead at 54.90. I'd be real surprised to see us at that today. But the purpose of the zones is to give our traders a playing field for the week. The highest zone is the highest the market should go for the week, and the lowest weekly trading zone is the lowest the market should go for the week. And all the zones in between are where the market should find support if price is dropping, and resistance if price is rising. As you can see, the zones published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Here they are on a Friday, still doing their job. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. We spiked it. We spiked it. Here we actually closed above the long target. I mean, we hit the target once, twice, 3 times. Now price is coming back in to real important support. Got the zone, which we're sitting on top of. And we're on the verge of having a bullish cross, which would lead us to expect higher prices. But that's one big red candle. Now, there's still 12 minutes left in the life of this 30-minute candle. So it could find support here and give us another attempt at the upside, but look at what's happened. Okay, we basically got a double top. This high was 53.80. This was 53.80.75. This went 3 ticks higher. And then we get a lower high. Okay. So when price comes down to the BBC, the pullback holds more often than not. Okay, whether it's pulling from above or below, pullback holds more often than not. Okay, Michael's here. So he's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room. And then we'll go live on TradingView for 30 minutes. And then I'll come back and complete the recap. And we'll wrap the week up with our good word for the day. Yes.
Okay, no, that's it. That's it. I was going to just send something really quick to this person. Here.
All right, well, your screens look good.
Okay. Excellent. Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 7th day of June 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you would like to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on this purple button right here. When you click on that, you are going to be brought to this page. I updated it this morning. You will be brought to this page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. And down here at the bottom, you can give us your machine ID if you have one for NinjaTrader or your TradingView login ID. That is not an email. That is a TradingView login ID. Okay. Hit the register button. When you hit that, if you give us that information, we'll be able to set up all your stuff so you have indicators indicating on your platform while you take the free trial with us. Okay. Okay. Now, next, I want to go over the spreadsheet with you. Okay. Now, in the spreadsheet, hang on. In the spreadsheet, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, first of all, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. All the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. So today, as I said, is the 7th day of June 2024. We made 82 ticks on the NQ, 31 ticks on the Russell. We lost 15 on the YM, and we made 11 on the ES. That put us at 627.5 on the morning session, 627.50 on the morning session. Today it took 20 minutes and 7 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $2,475. That's over 23. I'm sorry. It took a total of 23 trades this morning. So on a month now, we're at $1,827 over 5 days, averaging $365 per contract per morning session. On the year now, we're at $42,317 over 107 business days, averaging $395 per morning session. That's 2 hours with one contract. 2 hours with one contract. Now, if we were to follow the 24/20 blueprint and start with one contract this year in January and quit trading when you get the goal for the day and do everything just like I did so far this year, you would have had to work 37.75 hours. You would have averaged $1,272 per hour. If you did it like me and started in January of last year and added one contract per month, you'd be at 18 contracts now and you'd be averaging $6,183 per hour. Okay. Okay. Let's let's get into the actual trades that we triggered this morning. I think we had something on everything. We did. We had 23 trades. We had something on everything this morning. The markets, well, I gotta go through the bigger picture. I haven't looked at it in I haven't looked at it since I went to go to the hospital a little while ago. But it's looking like, oh man, I missed one. It's looking like, I gotta show you guys something in a minute. Okay. Here we go. This morning, this is the YM. All right, so this morning we started out on YM with our very first trade was 11 ticks right here. Okay, 11 ticks right there. Then was it 11? It was 11. Yep, it was 11, and we stopped out somewhere. We had 11, and then we stopped out. We went down to 1, and we got 4 ticks and went up to 5, and then we stopped out again somewhere. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. We stopped out here, went to -5, and then I got something here that I forgot to record, and we stopped out again right here. This might have been a break even. And we stopped out again right here to get us to -15 on the YM this morning. Okay, so a total of -15 on the YM. I didn't really have a lesson plan this morning, but we did have an opportunity to get into some other stuff. I'll show you in a minute. There was another nice blue arrow right here, and break-even trade. We took care of a couple of nice green arrows through there. During the break, there was a nice green arrow here, went right up to the zone. This one here, and a little choppy right through here. Both of those would have stopped you out in opposite directions, one right after the other, which is unusual. But we ended up with -15. The YM was our toughest market this morning. The Russell's actually got a short right now. A short right now that I could put on. And let's go back to the beginning on the Russell. We ended up with the Russell. We ended up with +31. So hopefully I managed to get all the leads in there properly today. All right, here we go. I am looking over here. Just wanted to trade. Right here we had a break even on that very first trade right there. The next trade we took was in here on the Russell. We picked up 10 ticks on that one. The next trade after that was right here. We picked up 5 more ticks on that to get us to +15. Then we had another 10 there to get us to +25, and another 6 there to get us to +31. So at that point, we were at +31 ticks on the Russell. I didn't take any more trades. We got really flat here during the break and just had this shorting opportunity right in here. There you go. That's not working out at all. And that was it for the Russell. Okay, now I'll go over the ES trades. We didn't have too many ES trades. Go back to the beginning. The very beginning, I guess. Our first trade, I had 1 tick profit. That's what it was. I had 1 tick profit on that one. Then I stopped out on that one. It put me at -9. And then right here, I got short here. I put the trade on, but I forgot I had it on. And I found it, and I ended up locking in 20 ticks in profit. So that got us to +11 on the ES. During the break, excuse me, during the break, it looks like it was a long trade here that went right up to the zone. And then once you got above the zone, there was a blue arrow here that didn't go anywhere. That would have stopped you out. Right, and that was it for the ES today. It's having a nice run right now. I got to show you something in a minute about the ES. I've been following the ES. Let me see who's in here. Who is in here right now? Those of you guys that are in here. Hey, Sarah, I just saw you just poked your head in. Okay, those of you guys that are following us on the TV trades, I want to show you something in just a minute. All right, let me get through the NQ first. All right, we had a bunch of trades on the NQ. Let's just get through that. Okay, I'll hit Alt and back, and we'll go back to the beginning of the morning session. Hold on just a second. We'll get you there in just a minute here. We're almost there. There we go. All right. So the way it started out for us today, started out with a break even on this trade right here. And then our very next trade was over here. There's another break even trade. And the next one after that was right here. We picked up 14 ticks on that one. And after that was right here. We picked up 30 on that to get us to 44 overall. Then we picked up another 8, it looks like. Got to get us to 52. Had a break even right there, a break even right there, and another +30 right here to get us to 82 ticks on the NQ. And that was how we ended the trading for the morning session on the NQ. There's some great blue arrow trades right here. All those shorts right there. This one not so much, but these two were really good. This is what I thought it was going to do this morning. I kept drawing that in this morning. I don't know if that ever ended up happening. I think it probably did, But when I left to go to the hospital, I didn't come back and look. So that's what it needed to get up to satisfy that. And it did, finally. All right, so during the break, there was a blue there, a blue there, a blue here. This one would have stopped you out. A blue there would have stopped. We got it back there, stopped there. And this is where we currently are. And that was it for the NQ. So I finished the NQ with plus 82 ticks this morning. All right, so the way that ended, let's go to the spreadsheet here for just a second. For those of you guys who don't know, this is a spreadsheet with our daily results. This goes back over 10 years. It goes back to January 2nd of 2013. So this morning, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, first of all, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. This morning, the 7th day of June 2024, we made 82 on the NQ, 31 on the Russell. We lost 15 on the Y, and we made 11 on the ES. That put us at plus $627.50 with one contract this morning. Now, we're trading 18 contracts, so it's 18 times that. And this morning, it took 20 minutes and 7 trades to get to $2,475, and we took a total of 23 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $1,827 with one contract. Now we're at 18 contracts now, but so far in the 5 days we traded so far, we're up $1,827 over 5 days, everything $365 per contract per morning session. On the year, we're at $42,317 with one contract. Over 107 days, averaging $395 per contract per morning session. So if you follow the 24/20 blueprint and you started this year with one contract and added one per month per the blueprint, you have to earn $2,000 per contract per month to be able to add another one. If you did that this year so far, you'd be on your 6th contract now and you'd be averaging $1,272 per hour. You would only have to work 37.75 hours this year. And you would be averaging $1,272 per hour. If you did it like me and you started in January of last year and did everything that I did this morning, if you just followed along and did everything that I did, you might have done it better than me. You would have had to work the same 37.75 hours so far this year, but you'd be averaging $6,183 per hour. Okay. So you only had to work 37.75 hours and you're averaging $6,183 per hour. All right. Now, we are into the live stream on the YouTube. I don't have YouTube open now, so if Dwayne's gonna YouTube and Twitter, I think. Let me just open one of those up so I can watch on YouTube if anybody has any questions. Okay. Hang on. YouTube.com. This one right here. Bit. There it is. All right. So, let me just go down Sarah. What I wanted to show you guys just a minute ago was the TV trades. The TV trades, let's go out here to the 7th chart in here. Now, in the meeting that I did last week, Daryl, one of our longtime partners, had asked, he had mentioned that it looks like it would be really easy to do to get you 2 points a day on the ES. And so I decided to start watching it on the ES4 range. And this is the midpoint, the mid-trend trade. Those long arrows there are the mid-trend trades, which is something that's going to be released probably tonight to all you guys who are using the TV trades. But just the regular ones right here. If you started out this morning just taking the regular trades without the mid-trend trades, or even if you used the mid-trend trade that I released last week, which is peak arrows, either one of those, you were just killing it. Short there, long there, short there, long there. This one stopped out. Those other 3, you would have gotten your goal for the day. This one, easy goal for the day. All those midpoints, goal for the day, goal for the day. This one would have stopped you out. Gotten it right back, goal for the day, goal for the day. I mean, it's just over and over and over again. And this is on a 4 range ES, so your stop is going to be like probably, if you're using the mid-trend trades, your stop is going to be 5 ticks. If you're using the regular trades, your stop is usually going to be about 9 ticks, right? It's usually going to be about 9 ticks, 8 or 9 ticks, right? So this is the TV trades. This is what's out there right now if you sign up for it. And it's just going to get better next week. Next week it'll be like this, the mid-trend trades. Should load up the mid-trend trades here. Hang on. Let's see. Okay, it didn't load up the mid-trend trades. There it is. Okay, it'll be like this with all these mid-trend trades. This one, and these black arrows right here. They will send you a text message. They'll send you a message to your alert to your phone or anywhere you want to get it, letting you know that there's a trade on the next bar probably. Okay, to get ready for the trade. Just want to point that out to all of you. If you are using TV trades, or if you're thinking about using TV trades, to use it, go here to targetviewtrades.com and just sign up for it right here. Okay, right there. All right, just want to point that out because it was killing it today. And while we've been talking, I had 2 trades that I made a couple of points each on the ES. So enough of that. Let's get into the actual trading. We have 26 minutes left of trading for right now. Okay. So Sarah, this is the stuff that we normally do, that I normally do in the morning. This is not the TV trades. This is Trading IQ, my Trading IQ, and CFRN.net. Right. So this is giving us a long opportunity right here. We're looking to get a short opportunity right there, and the YM and the Russell do not have anything right now. So the ES long opportunity is pulling back pretty deep right now, and the NQ short opportunity is giving profit. So we'd have to just wait a minute and see if we get anything else. If anybody has any questions, just type them into the question box. Okay, I'm happy to answer any questions. ES is starting to go into profit here. I entered on the pullback right here. Did hit 4 ticks in profit, so I'm going to bump my stop to break even. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, this is $12.50 per tick. Every time it goes up and down, it's $12.50 per tick with 1 contract. So for me, I have 18 contracts on, so it's 18 times $12.50, whatever that number is. Okay, so now it's 18 times 25. That's an easier number. That's $900, something like that. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's $450, I believe, something like that. Now it's $900, and now it's out. All right, over here, this did not go, and if I would have put that on, it would have just stopped me out. I didn't put that on. If I would have, it would have just stopped me out. Okay, so it is now 105. What we anticipate here is that the green arrow is going to push us up above the prior swing high. If it does that, we'll have another trade in that direction. If it doesn't, we won't have any more trades. This blue background right here is a no trade zone, so we're not going to be able to trade anymore in that. But the YM and the Russell are both pulling back to almost give us a trade setup. The YM is in the overbought down here. So if we get a down close, it's going to give us a black arrow, right? If it pulls it out of the overbought, it's going to give us a black arrow. It's going to be even worse now. So we won't take that right now. Okay. And the hang on, I'm just going back here for just a second. We just got a short indication on this right here. Just give a short indication. Now this is a mid-trend trade, so the stop only has to be right up above the prior swing high right in here. Okay, it doesn't have to be any more than that in this case. So in this case, it would have just stopped you out. Had you taken the trade, it would have just stopped you out. Okay, but what you anticipate is that it's going to go down and continue the trend. Let me blow it up so you can see a little better. Oops, I blew up the wrong one. This one. What you anticipate is that it's going to go down and exceed the prior swing low. That's what you anticipate on this. Okay. All right. So let's go back here. Back to this one. And now the ES did give the long trade on this. It gave the long trade that I just took a little profit on. And now this is starting to push down right in here. And this is starting to push down. And this is starting to push down. So over here, because we hit the ribbon and we hit the black line on the pullback and the ribbon, this would give a green arrow on the down close if it pulls it out of the overbought. On the Russell right now, we didn't hit the black line on the pullback. So if we got a down close on this, it would not give any arrow because we're not coming out of the overbought. This would be a valid trade, but it wouldn't be any kind of an arrow on that trade. Okay. Wouldn't be any kind of an arrow on that one. It does look like it's going to drop though. If we go look at the bigger picture stuff, which I do want to do quickly, the bigger picture stuff is way over here. Oops, sorry about that. This is my bigger picture stuff. Okay, on the YM, we're bouncing off the BBC, and we're right at the MA1 black stick line. So it's really decision time here, and it's the whole day's action. We're right in the middle of it. That's the YM. The NQ right now is pushing up at the high of the day. This is what I was early when we were in here. I was thinking if it was going to keep pushing up, it was going to do 100% retracement of the entire day's action, and it's just about there. Now, if it's going to sell off at the end of the day, and that's what I was looking at. You guys remember that head and shoulder pattern I was showing you this morning? It's going to sell off at the end of the day. That should start happening anytime now. Anytime now, that should start happening. The ES is starting to push down. That one that I showed you a minute ago, the mid-trend trade, it is starting to push down right now. So that, I think, is going to go down to 73.25. 73.25. I'll show you that in a minute, Tom. But we'll see about that in just a minute here. But this is the Russell, and the Russell is sitting right on top of the MA1. If this bar at the bottom of the hour, if this bar closes below the MA1, then we're going to see lows all the way down here at the end of the day today. Okay, all the way down there at the end of the day is what I suspect. The ES is at the high. That was a great time for it to stop if it's going to. Don't know if it's going to, but it's at the high of the day, and it's time for it to pull back. All right, so the bigger picture, everything's at a point where it should start going down. If it does start to break up above it, then we'll be looking at really big movement on the upside, but it's at a point right now where it should start to break down if it's going to break down. Okay, now I missed this green arrow short over here, and this wasn't actually a trade here because we didn't come out of the overbought on the Russell. Okay, it wasn't actually a trade there. And the ES that I mentioned a few minutes ago is really starting to run right now. I'll show it to you in a second. Here, go back here, this one. Now, I was just saying a second ago that I expect it's going to try to get down the prior swing low, which is right here, and it's just about there. So we are going to get out of that trade right now. All right, back here and here. Now the NQ is pulled back up in assessing ribbon, and it's in the overbought. If we get a down close on this right now, it'll give us a green arrow on the NQ. Green arrow, there it is. I just shorted it. I'm going to show you. Hang on a second. I'm trying to get my dog here. Hang on, here it is. I'm short the NQ. I have a 26 stop on the NQ, so if it stops me out, if it stops me out, it does. There it is. It stopped me out. All right, so that was minus 26 there on that NQ. Let me put that over here. That was a big red one. I'm going to put a blue one over here. I took profit a minute ago. That is a blue one. There it is. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions about anything? At this point, it's now 1:11. We have 19 minutes left. One thing I mentioned earlier in the room this morning was Bitcoin was, oops, sorry, I'm going to show you Bitcoin. Bitcoin was at a point on the daily, it was up to the point where it needed to break out. If we slide this over here, see right here, we got up to the prior swing high after this blue arrow down here a few days ago. We got up to the prior swing high right here. And if it breaks above that, it's only got a couple of things to get up to the high, the all-time high. And when it breaks through that, then I'm thinking it's going to get up here to 80,400 is what I'm thinking. I was thinking this would take longer to develop. I thought this was going to go out for another week or two to develop before it breaks through this level right here. Just going back and looking at historic charts back here. That's kind of what it did the last time. Okay, going through here. When it does break out, it should be a huge breakout though. And, I'm thinking this right here is what I'm thinking, right? And that's just on base, and that's just based on regular price action stuff. Okay. The Russell right here did not put in a lower swing from this move down, but it didn't give me any kind of an arrow either. I just missed it, but the TV trades gave a long trade here a minute ago. It just triggered a long. Oops, sorry. It was in here, number 7. This long right here just triggered a few minutes ago. Now, so those of you guys who don't know, the mid-trend trade, the stop on that is just beyond the bar that got you into the trade. The stop on this is the low of the bar before the bar that got you into the trade. It says it right up here for these bars right here, not the mid-trend trade, but the ones that trigger you at the beginning of the trend. It tells you in here exactly where your stop needs to be. Right, in this case right here, the stop needs to be down here at 53.76. 76, down here. 53.76 is where the stop needed to be. And I didn't have the targets turned on for that, but if you did turn the targets on, target lines anyway, the first target line is right there, and the next target line is right there. So it didn't make it to the first one yet, but it did make enough to get the stop to break even. This black arrow right here is telling you get ready. The next trade could be a mid-trend trade long. Okay, that's what that black arrow was telling you. I just got an alert on my phone, and they were also supposed to get the alerts. I was working on that this morning. I didn't have those. Coming out exactly right until halfway through the morning session today. But again, if you're not using the mid-trend, if you're not using the TV trade stuff, you really should. I'm back here. And on the NQ, the outer bands are completely flat here on this NQ, so I'm not really interested in this green arrow long right here. Okay, this short over here on the Russell is a little more appealing to me than that green arrow long on the NQ. I shorted the Russell right here. Okay, my stop should be 10 ticks away. 10 ticks away like that, and we'll see. It's 10 ticks away. It should make it down here to the prior swing low, but it only has to go 4 ticks into profit for me to bump the stop to break even. Okay, 4 ticks into profit to bump that stop to break even. Okay, I expect this over here on the NQ is not going to work out. And the ES already did its thing from the TV trades. It already went and did enough to get some profit and get you stop to break even. So I don't know if that's going to keep going or not. Okay, over here we need to go one more tick. One more tick. The ES did keep going. After the mid-trend trade that it just gave, it just kept going. I'm gonna go back and show you. So the Russell's probably not gonna work out. I don't know. But here's the mid-trend trade. It just triggered right here. It gave you the warning, and then it gave you the trade, and now it's starting to move. And the Russell's about to stop me out. It hasn't stopped me out yet, but I think it's gonna here in a second. I don't think it's stopped me out yet. I haven't heard it yet. Here it is. Okay, go back to 4 like that. And now wait. Russell could turn into something. It could. This did. Russell could. It could go in opposite directions. It could happen. Stranger things have happened. Starting to go here on the Russell. We need 4 ticks in profit. That stop is break even. It's going to get right down here to 4.2. 4.2. Almost. I turned away for a second. It started to go. Of course, it started to go as soon as I turned away. It's just about to stop us. Okay, it did. Yeah, it did. All right. We have a purple arrow triggering right here on the ES. Interesting. Okay, I don't see anything coming in over here on the YouTube. Nothing yet, anyway. All right. Well, we need this to move up, this to move up, and this to move up. We're in no trade zones everywhere, so we can't do anything right now. Does anybody have anything? Anybody want to look at anything else? Anybody? Quiet room today. So we almost have a trade here, but the outer bands are still really, really flat. Yeah, they're really, really flat right there. So I don't know if we're going to get anything else in there. Over here on the YM, again, the outer bands are really flat. I like to see it run away here and then pull back. You know, I was saying earlier, this decision time, everything's way up at the top right now in the bigger picture. They're all at like the high of the day. And so it's really decision time here. So it's decision time here because you're in a weekly trading zone in between these spots. But the ES, the NQ, and well, the YM and the Russell kind of in the middle of everything, but they're both at decision spots. But the ES and the NQ are at the high of the day, and they really need to figure out if they're going to just tank from here. These two right here. I have a feeling they will. But we'll see. As always, you just have to trade what's in front of you. The NQ's actually got a ribbon trade right there. It's really kind of flat here, and we are going right at the highs of the day here. But
that purple arrow on the ES worked out well.
Did it? Awesome. It's All right, you just got that. Yeah, the purple arrow there. When the outer bands are spread and you get those purple arrows, those are usually really good. Remember, the purple arrows, they don't really care about the no trade zone so much. You don't have to have the slingshot coming out of the no trade zone. I mean, coming out of the overbought or oversold. Slingshot's got to be going in the right direction, but it doesn't have to be overbought or rolled. But the thing that this is showing you is that the outer bands are in favor. So both the long term and short term are in favor of the trade when it pulls back and hits the ribbon, and the ribbon's the right color. The black's got to be in the right color. That's a requirement for it. So the purple arrows are, if you get them with the trend, those are awesome. That was why I created to begin with. I still have to, maybe this weekend I'll have time to no, I got those other things I've been working on for 3 days, working out. I'll have time to go in here. What I wanted to do with this, because right now it doesn't care about the outer bands. It just cares that they're the right color. It doesn't care about the slope or the separation or anything like that. But if I make it more like the blue arrow, where the blue arrow does care about the slope and the separation, if I make it more like that, then you get more of these trades right here and fewer of these trades right here where it's completely flat. I mean, not that that was a bad trade, but where the outer bands are completely flat. Both of those worked out. But you know what I mean. I think you know what I mean. Actually, every one of those purple arrows so far has worked out pretty well. Still, every purple arrow has worked out. There you go. There's one. But the outer bands actually just spread out a little bit on that one. Anyway, the reason I created the purple arrows is because they should show you when the short term and long term and everything is going in favor of the trade. All the indicators go in favor of the trade. That's what they should be showing. The only thing that's not is the outer bands being flat. But remember, the outer bands are, everything is lagging a little bit. So, all right. Again, those of you guys who are watching TV trades, if you're interested in TV trades, that last long that we just watched trigger here, gave you that one, and then gave you that one. Bang. How many points was that? The trigger was actually right here at 77.50, and it just ran all the way up here to 85.50 for an 8-point trade. Right, sorry, an 8-point trade. $400 a contract, right there. $400 a contract. $25 a week. All right, you're pulling back down to test the ribbon right here. To test the ribbon. All right. If you're not doing the TV trade stuff and you want to, go here to targetviewtrades.com and just sign up for it here. Okay. If you're interested in it. Right here, now we're inside the weekly trading zone on the Russell, so we're not going to have a trade here. We're testing the ribbon right here. I'm sorry, that was the YM. We're testing the ribbon over here on the Russell. This could be a trade right here. It could be a blue arrow trade still. It could be a purple arrow trade. Now it's going to be a green arrow trade if it's going to be a trade at all. Remember, I was just saying these things are at a point where they might turn around. The NQ is in a no trade zone. The ES is going to give a trade right here, I think. That's tough. It's going to be a green arrow trade there on the ES, I think. Times at 126. I only have a couple of minutes left. 3 minutes. I don't think the ES is going to be able to finish that in 3 minutes. Hang on. Let's see if I can't get to my dollar. Hang on. I'm trying to fill right here. It hasn't filled me yet. There, just filled me at 80 and a half. 80 and a half. I don't have a good feeling about this one, but we'll see. It's probably my last trade of the morning. The TV trades just gave a short that just worked out on the short side. Let's see. Right here, the short, and just ran from the entry here at 81 down to 79, pretty 2 points. We want this to bump up. It's going to give us 4 ticks in profit to move that stop to break even. I'm looking for some good numbers up here for it to run to. I hope we're going to run into something, but it doesn't look like we're going to. All right. I was afraid of that. TV trades, on the other hand, just gave another fantastic trade.
Every time we put in a new high
New
on
high.
the ES, it gets rejected.
Yeah, that was that a new all-time high right there, Dwayne? 85.5.
I think so.
And it's Friday. And where do we stand with the weekly trading zones? Bigger picture. I want to go look at that. Give me a sec. Give me a second. Here it is on the.
Still got one more zone way up there.
Yeah, those outer ones were a long way.
That right there, that last candle, the candle you're showing right now, that was a new all-time historic high.
Wow. And so far, it's come down and bounced off the black step line. We have a cross of the MA1 and the BBC right here at the weekly trading zone. So that's going to be like a magnet to it. And a good spot to bounce. This is a puzzle going into the end of the day right now. You would think the ES and the NQ would be failing going into the end of the day. That's what I would be thinking. But just going to trade what's in front of us, as always. All right. Yeah, so after all this, Dwayne in the hospital, they ran into an insurance issue. They have to discharge her. She's going to be seen by somebody else today, and then they have to admit her again today because of insurance. It's such an hassle. So who knows when all that's going to happen. Anyway, it is one
a real bummer.
It is. It's a mess. I just stopped. I was only in there for a few minutes.
Is it Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance?
I think it's all of them, really. Honestly, I think she's got all of those things going on. Medicare and Medicaid, they're the ones that really give a hassle to Medicare and Medicaid. Her dad, he's got the VA going too, and he's got 100% disability from the VA, so they cover a lot of things.
Right.
But it's a mess, and I'm sure we're going to be dealing with it for a long time to come. Anyway, I am all done, and I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 20 minutes and 7 trades to get to $2,475.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. I wish the best for your whole family.
Thanks. Hopefully everything will keep moving forward anyway. Hopefully.
So we had just gotten to the ES, guys. Back to the daily. We now have a high at 53.85 half. Yeah, let's leave it there for right now. It's 53.85 half. It's difficult on the daily chart. I'll have it fixed by Monday. So we came again, as we talked about last night in the workshop. We expected the step line to be good support and give us a potential bounce, and it did. It bounced us all the way up. That support that we discussed last night bounced us to a new all-time historic high. So back to CTAs. We opened last night, consolidated at the zone, tried to get to the target, didn't quite make it. Price got back below the zone, got below the BBC, balloon climbing, turned to red and falling, got a leg, got a retracement, and then that 8:30 news, that econ news, sent us up to a new all-time high, which has now been taken out. And we then dropped in the same 30-minute period after putting in a new all-time historic high. We dropped all the way through this zone, and this zone, which was published Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, did its job. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. When it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. Trading's not easy, but it can be simple. But some people have a hard time letting it be simple. They're convinced they need just one more thing, one more filter, one more something, one more indicator. There's got to be some holy grail out there that will keep me from never being stopped up again. Professional traders do not waste time, energy, or money on such a fantasy because they know that such a thing cannot exist. So, what happens when a professional trader gets stopped out? They just look for the next opportunity. They don't go back to the drawing board and rethink the whole thing. No, you've already got that figured out before you even go live. That's if you're a member at CFRN. Trade in your demo account till you qualify to go live. Then you go live with only one contract. And you trade that one contract until you increase your account balance by $2,000. Then the 2420 blueprint gives you the green light to add a second contract. Big difference is your first contract is funded with your startup capital, the money you opened your account with. The second contract is funded with profit you earned in the market. Blueprint tells you when it's time to add contract number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10, all the way up to number 20. But you only add one at a time when the blueprint says it's time. And you only add profit you earned in the market. If you have the discipline to stick to that plan, you're still going to get stopped out. But the chance of blowing up another account, well, honestly, you'll have to break some rules that are in the blueprint. So, managed. Now, again, this was the opening candle last night. The vertical lines separate today, Friday, from Thursday, from Wednesday. And so it was 10 minutes into the life of this candle that these targets were published last night. And for anybody tuning in late, these are all the targets that all of our members and trial members had last night at 6:10 p.m. Eastern. So that's the ES. We'll go to the YM. Here's where we opened. We're above the BBC, so we expect higher prices. So lots of room to get your goal for the day on the way to the zone. Now remember, when price hits a weekly zone, when it rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. Yesterday, resistance at the same zone. When price drops to a zone, we expect support, which we got. We got it there today, and we got it there Wednesday. Okay. We've published these zones since December 14th of 2009. So this December will make 15 years. And once you understand how price behaves at a weekly zone, it will become one of the most important tools in your trading toolbox. Published Monday, here it is on Friday, still on duty. The new zones will come out Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. To the Russell. Here's where we opened last night. We were below the BBC, but we had blue and climbing, which is bullish. So we consolidated for a few hours at the BBC, and then we rode blue and climbing long enough to get your goal for the day. But we were not able to break that zone overhead. So that sent the market down below the BBC. Green line stands for bull bear cross. Bullish above it, bearish below it. Down we came to the target, consolidated at the target, and that 830 econ, which dropped us. Look how far this thing dropped us. Good Lord. That econ report sent us up to 2057, and in the same 30 minutes dropped us to 2020. It's 37 points at $50 a point. Takes 2 points in the Russell. That's all. Get your goal for the day. Now the market found support right here. We have to go way back to find the spot. And there it is. Actually, it looks like we had a cross right around this 2024 area. And so we spiked it down to 20 and a half. So support. You see how far, people often ask, well, how far left do I have to look? As far as you need to find previous support area. And I just showed it to you. Support sends us to resistance. First we had resistance at the zone. Market backpedaled. Then it charged again. Price always reverts to the mean. Pullback holds more often than not. Whether you're pulling down from above or pulling up from below. Zone support, zone support, zone support. Consolidation. 70% of the time, that's what you'll see when price reaches the zone. Consolidation. Here it is again. And so this is where we opened last night. Almost made it to that zone. We actually made it at 2. This high right here, 20, 60, 40. This high right here, 20, 59, 60. So you didn't quite take it out. But that reversed us. And that happened off the London Open. So we got a bearish cross right after the London Open. And down we go. And then we retraced all the way back to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance, still proven otherwise. And it's done a fine job of doing what it's supposed to do. You had a green candle up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance. So that green candle started getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it turned into a red candle. And it went right down to the zone. About a wee bounce. Then traded below and back up. Resistance again. Now, the step line has crossed right here, red and falling. So we would anticipate a pullback to the BBC. This time, I don't know if that's going to happen. In Q, here's where we opened last night, above the BBC, along with blue and climbing, and it took us right up to the target. Lots of room to get your goal for the day. Now we ran into resistance, established yesterday. That sent us below the BBC, and then we found support right here, just above that low. That pushed us up, and the news came out and way up, and then dropped like a rock, just like the others. Pull back to the BBC, resistance. This time we traded through the BBC, closed above it. This candle here opened and closed above the BBC, which made this candle here 19, 113 ran us up to 19,145. Just 10 points is $200 per contract traded. So let's call it 115 to 45. There'd be 30 points at $20 a point, $600 per contract traded in that one candle. Now remember, it opened red, but it turned green. See, this was red all the way down to the VBC. And then the red started to vanish and vanish and vanish until it turned green. That's why I'm measuring from this area to this area. Okay? Gotta learn how to read the chart. Crude. Here's where we opened last night. We had red and falling overhead, resistance and support below. We did spike up and touch the target, but got red and falling there. Now, once price got to 75.80, it was a valid trade up to the target at 75.90. Then we just consolidated at the zone. We dropped below. Took out that low by, I guess we didn't take it out. So that, now let me help you understand. When this candle opened yesterday, it went red. But then it reversed and went green. So that makes that a very important price in a very important place. Support. Support. Now we're up against red and falling, getting a bearish cross. So right now, a drop from 75.45, 75.35. That just might be perfect to get your goal for the day. 75.45, 75.30. Right now, the step line is acting as support, but we've traded a little bit below it. So again, 45, 35, and that's your goal for the day. If price takes out this double bottom here, then you should have no problem getting down to the short target, which is based on the bullish cross. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support, at least on the first attempt. So if we don't get there today, don't forget about this important place Sunday night when we open, if the markets head lower. Gold, here's where we opened. We ran up, hit that long target, pull back to the BBC and the zone. This little doji right here, bang. Gold put in a high at 24.06. It's now at 23.21. This is one of the, I think, biggest one-day drops in gold I've seen in maybe ever. As we came back down, got below the BBC and the zone, hit the short target, kept dropping. Now, when price slices through a zone like this on the 30-minute chart, what typically happens is when it runs out of steam, price will reverse back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. It attempted to pull up to the zone, but see, there was a little bit of green. That wick, it was a little bit of green, but there's just so much lack of buying and selling pressure. Sent us down to the next zone where we consolidated just as we did 2 days ago. But that consolidation led to a rally. This consolidation took us to the next zone below. Now we've still got 2 more zones below. But notice the step line. it has crossed from the left. Now it crossed way up here. So to see price continue to drop, that's unusual. But as this red and falling curls, it becomes blue and climbing. Definitely expect a retracement back to the BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. And the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Expect it to hold, but be prepared if it doesn't. Then you're just going to get a trade in the other direction. Don't jump the gun. You got to be patient. Remember, these are 30-minute candles. Silver. Huge, huge, huge. When the price of silver moves $1, that's worth $5,000 per contract traded. So we opened here last night, red and falling, dropped us to the BBC in the zone, which we could support times 2. Got us above, red and falling. So this candle opened at 31.45 and ran up almost $1,000 per contract traded. And then we got below the BBC. And we dropped. When we hit the zone, we bounced. But on the second 30-minute candle, we traded through it, hit the short target. Now, right here, why did price stop falling there? Previous bullish cross that led to an extended move. It was support. First time we came down to it. We bounced back up to the short target. Resistance. Then we just continued dropping. Now we're consolidating at the zone 29.44/45. And there's one more zone below. But as you can see, the step line has crossed. So consolidating at a zone, as we do 70% of the time. So look for a rally up to the BBC. We expect the pullback to hold. If it does, then we'll have an opportunity to the downside. If the move up to the BBC doesn't hold, then we can trade up to at least that high right there. Remember, you only need 2 pennies in silver to get your goal for the day. And the euro opened last night above the BBC. We dropped, overcame red and falling, but we were not able to take out yesterday's high. We just consolidated sideways. The news came out, spiked the target, and in that same candle dropped 1, 2, 3 zones, consolidated a little bit. Now notice the step line has crossed from the, see on the way down, got price, step line, red and falling, BBC. Once that step line crosses red and falling, you should expect that the market is going to at least attempt a rally back to the BBC. There's one last look at the daily. I'll get that fine-tuned so it's a little more accurate. But new all-time historic high, 53.85 half. To become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, you can call us at 949-42-EMINI, or you can send an email to support@CFRN.net. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. They buy books and video courses and indicators and oscillators. But that's no replacement. There's nothing wrong with those things, but they're not a replacement for a living, breathing teacher in an interactive environment. So we have 2 hours of live training every trading day, along with the 2 hours of group training and trading, private mentoring, one-on-one, when you become a member, passport holder. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flow is the same across all markets and all time frames. As a passport holder, you also get the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, the weekly trading zones. You're able to attend the members-only workshop on Thursday night. It truly is everything a trader needs, all under one roof, for one low price. If you have any questions, just give us a call, send us an email. All right, good word for the day to wrap up the week. It's time to pray. Part 1. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Psalm 51:7. Do you remember when most restaurants had opening and closing hours? It was their schedule and not your appetite that decided whether you ate or went hungry. Not anymore. Now you can pop into many of your favorite eating places anytime your appetite hits. That's how God operates. He's available 24/7. And although praying isn't limited to set times, there are certain times when it's vital that you talk to God. Here's 2. 1, when you have sinned. Your emotions of guilt and shame, plus Satan, the accuser, will tell you to avoid God. But turning to him is the only solution to sin. Burdened by adultery, deception, and murder, David realized he needed to confess his sin to God. Psalm 51:7 says, "Purify me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Cleanse me, and I'll be whiter than snow. Create in me a clean heart, God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." Now, that's something I tried to instill in my children as they were growing up. When you do something wrong, make a mistake, or get in some kind of trouble, I do not want your first thought to be, "Man, my dad is going to kill me." What I want them to do is to say, "I better call Dad." Now, your children, if you still have young children, or teenagers, or even young adults, if they make a mistake, if they get in trouble, if they do something wrong, are they going to call you or hide from you? God wants to be in relationship with you so that when you do mess up, you instantly go to him in prayer. So my kids were taught, while you're praying, dial my number. Okay? Number 2, when you're worried and afraid, you don't have to look too far to find things to worry about. They're all around you. Financial, professional, health, and family concerns, like Michael's going through right now, and the threat of war, which our nation is going through right now, can make you stressed out and anxious. Where to turn? Prayer is God's answer to fear and anxiety. Philippians 4:6 and 7 says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Now, there was an interesting phenomena, whatever you want to call it. If you're old enough to remember 9/11, yeah, that 9/11, Twin Towers. For weeks after the 9/11 tragedy, boy, every church in every town was filled to the brim. Standing room only. It was incredible. Because we were so horrified, as a nation, we turned to God. We printed T-shirts. You remember, if you're old enough. But then that slowly faded away. And we forgot about God and started having Grammy Awards, or whatever that award was, where on national television, on network TV, devil worship. Whoa, how far we've strayed since 9/11. Do we need World War III to turn us back to God, to get us on our knees praying? Man, I pray we don't. In fact, I think if America will get on its knees and start praying right now for God to intervene, perhaps we can avoid this war that looms large right now. And if you have children who are of the age for the draft, I don't know. You know, in World War II, they call that the greatest generation. Kids lied about their age. You know, yesterday was D-Day. But kids lied about their age because they wanted to go and fight for America. 16-year-old kids. They didn't have to be drafted. They willingly wanted to go and defend their country and everything America stood for. What do you think will happen with our current generation? Because we've allowed our country, and in some cases our children, and even ourselves, to fall away from God. Do you think there would be that same rush to fight, or would there be a rush to hide? You know, go to college or Canada, or find some other way to avoid having to fight. The only way we could wage a war right now would be for them to reinstitute draft. And when we had the draft during the Vietnam War, now I don't remember this, but I know this is how it happened. I don't know if it was once a week, once a month, whatever. On the news, they would call out some number, and that was your number. I forget how it worked. It was like, maybe it was your birthday. Like if your birthday was on the 23rd, and if they call number 23, then everybody born on that day went. However it worked. It was a lottery you didn't want to win. Now, I mean, go from Normandy, D-Day, World War II, the greatest generation they're called, to just the Vietnam War. You didn't have, now I'm not saying there probably were some kids that voluntarily signed up and went before their number was called. But also, a lot of our kids were protesting in the streets. I'm not justifying the Vietnam War in any way. I just know that many gave their life, whether by choice or by draft. And of course, it's still a debate of whether we should have been there or not been there. Sound familiar? Do you now spell Vietnam Ukraine? Is that how you spell Vietnam now? I'll have to check. So, guys, pray for our country. All that America stands for. We have, throughout our history, been the kindest, the most generous. When we win a war, what do? Do we put the people in prison? No, we go and use American tax dollars to help them rebuild. Other countries don't fight that way. America always has. Pray and make sure you vote come November. That's our somber good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.